Hello, my name is Tony White, and this monologue is a presentation of a new book which I've authored in the year 2011, this year. It's just been released, with the publisher being Jessica Kingsley Publishing. The title of the book is Working with Suicidal Individuals, and looks at the understanding, management and treatment, I suppose, of such people. It's probably been 30 years in the making, that is, writing this book, because I started out in private practice 30 years ago and have been going ever since. In private practice, of course, you get all sorts, every kind of person with types of problems coming to see you. Many times you don't know what the difficulty is until the person sat down and started talking. So I discovered that suicide is quite prevalent in society. Australia I'm from, and most modern Western societies are the same. So I had a number of people over the years come in and present these issues, which I had to work with, and did so. And over a period of time I began to specialise in a number of areas, and working with the suicidal person was one of them. And this, over the years, has culminated in a number of articles, and indeed in 1991 I produced a small booklet on the No Suicide Contract. I also have a personal interest in the area, and that is as a teenager, I think I was about 17, 18, I had made two suicide attempts myself, so I had a personal interest in the area as well. As an adult, I'm not suicidal at all. I never have been, and I've had difficult times in my life, and it's never even been an option for me. So that's interesting, how one can be a teenager and be suicidal, but as an adult not. And indeed, that's one of the topics I cover in the book, that is of the suicidal teenager. Most often the explanation of why the teen years are a high-risk period for suicide attempts is because it's a time of stress and upheaval for the young person. Whilst that is true, I think it is a simplistic answer. There is more to the suicidal teenagers than just that, and in the book I cover this principally. They have a different perception, or they have a different comprehension of what suicide is compared to the adult, and I explain that in more detail in the book. Then in more recent years I worked in the prison system for a number of years, and my job in the prison system was to coordinate a program called the At-Risk Management System, and that is the organisational structure that's created that was put in place by the organisation to deal with identifying and managing suicidal and self-harming inmates. So that was my job, to coordinate and run that day to day, and so my learning curve about the thinking, cognitive state of the suicidal person increased dramatically, because there were 750 inmates, and I was talking day in and day out with the people who were suicidal in varying degrees, from the ages of 18 to 70. The other reason why I felt I needed to produce this book was because, in my view, in the literature in recent times there's been very little new material presented. A lot of it is picture straightening and simply restating what has been said before in different ways. So over the years I've developed a few innovative concepts, I suppose, or different ways of looking at suicide and managing the suicidal individual, for instance with the teenagers. I also cover what's called the suicide secret. That is, about 75% of people who make a suicide attempt will tell somebody before that they're contemplating it, which is good because they're giving a warning sign and they can be identified and dealt with. The problem with that is it means 25% aren't. That's 1 in 4. That is a significant group of people. So I set about, particularly when I was working in the prison system, to try and work out a system by which I can identify these people who don't tell anybody. I think I was successful to a degree, but it is an area that needs much more development, and I cover that in the book. Also covered is risk assessment, and I cover the usual things you find in risk assessment. That is the identifying the high risk groups like substance users, mentally ill, depressed, and seeing how many groups the person fits into, and then you rate them on that. That is useful material, and I cover it in depth. I also address another type of suicide risk assessment, which I call a qualitative, and that is that you're looking for the person who has made what's called the suicide decision. That is, they've made a decision in their early life that suicide is an option for them, that when they run into very difficult life circumstances, for example, that is an option for them. Some people have made this and some people haven't. So I cover that in the book, and that is not common in the literature at all, and it allows me to, or people to, make an assessment on that basis as well. So that's a brief overview of the book. Of course, there's many other things in it as well, and I hope you find it useful should you read it. Thank you.